Now, I want to be clear here. This is from the article again. Can Israel respond to Hamas at all then? I'm not saying that because Israel has not exhausted all peaceful alternatives over the years and is not dealing with the war correctly today, that this means that it forfeits the right to self-defense. Responding to an attack like Hamas on October 7th is morally justified, but if Israel wants that response to be truly just, it must also reckon with how its long-term policies, the settlements, the blockades, and political manipulation have fueled the conditions that have led to war. Blowback again, right? And just war theory requires more than reactive force. It demands a pursuit of justice that aims towards peace. If Israel continues to treat Palestinians unjustly while responding militarily to Hamas, it not only fails the moral standard, it guarantees the cycle of violence will repeat. I want to be really clear here. Recognizing any nation, including Israel's right to self-defense, does not mean that you rubber stamp every policy they've implemented over the decades. You can, this is, I guess, to libertarians, we can, because some people go too far, right? And they'll even justify Hamas. Well, I'm not here to justify Hamas. Okay, October 7th was not justified. It is understandable from a perspective of blowback, right? I like the comparison to the slave revolt led by John Brown, who led a giant slave insurrection, and he went and killed, and they committed a lot of mass violence against white people. Not justified, but come on, you can look back and sort of understand that when you oppress a people for long enough, they might break free and act out of revenge. When revenge isn't justified, it is an understandable human condition. I'm saying as Christians, maybe we shouldn't be possessed by that. Maybe we're called to be better than that. Again, I keep repeating Romans 12 because I think that is largely informative to Christian ethics, including just war theory. Thomas Jefferson has this really good quote in a letter he wrote about slavery. And he said, "But as it is, we have the wolf by the ear, and we can neither hold him nor safely let him go. Justice in one scale and self-preservation in the other." So, yeah, listen, their actions have consequences, right? Like I said. And what Israel needs to do is stop holding the wolf by the ear and deal with the consequences. Now, while dealing with those consequences, protect innocent people and, deal with Hamas, but stop perpetuating the cycle. You don't get to continue to commit mass violence and to strip the Palestinians of their basic human rights just because you dropped the ball and screwed up. That's not how it works. It's not consistent with Christian ethics, just war theory, or the supposed Western values that make us superior. Justice can't be selective. What James Lindsay is doing, what many others are doing, is demanding that only Hamas be held to moral standards. But that is not how justice works. You don't get to quote Augustine when you want to condemn terrorism and then ignore him when you want to excuse war crimes. You either believe justice is universal or you don't believe in justice at all. I'm going to repeat that. You either believe justice is universal or you don't believe in justice at all. You don't have to be anti-Israel to say that Israel has violated these principles. America has violated these principles. Just about every nation state that's ever engaged in war in history has violated these principles. Because guess what? We're sinners, and living up to this is hard. But, try not to use an expletive here. Can we at least try? Can we try to live up to these principles instead of going, oh, it's too hard. Let's just kill a bunch of civilians because that's easier. We have to be honest. We have to be consistent. We have to care about morality more than tribal or national loyalty. The Christian and libertarian alternative. From a Christian, and I'd say consequently libertarian perspective, I hold two truths together. That nations have a right to self-defense, but that right is not a blank check. It must be exercised with moral restraint, with accountability, with wisdom. Jesus told us to love our enemies. He didn't say to not protect the innocent, but he did say to pursue peace. And that command is not suspended when we're angry or afraid. In fact, that is exactly when we're tested on those principles. As a libertarian, I also know that the state often uses war to expand its power, to mask its failures, and to manufacture consent through fear. And as a Christian, I believe the true battle is not against flesh and blood, but against the spiritual forces of evil. That doesn't mean we never fight, but it means we must never glorify war or let it consume our principles.